since we're just two people, we have to figure out how to manage that whole thing, because it's you need those structures. So Charlotte is responsible for the music and for the look, and I'm responsible for the organization part.
And the beats.
The beats, of course, but yeah, like it's a lot of like managing things too. And since we haven't we
what do you mean with managing?
Well, we don't have a management anymore. We had it like until 1 year ago, and so yeah, it's a lot of communicating and organizing.
And was it like a choice to like do your own management?
Yeah, because he's just multi-talented, and that's maybe that's sometimes it's even difficult for him because you're such a great musician, such a great drummer, but it's very consuming that nobody is as good as you in like doing paperworks or communicating with everybody to make everybody feel comfortable and get important information. And that's what he's very good at.
So it was better for the band that you did the management?
It feels better now than before when we had.
We like to have things in control.
Yeah, I understand. Speaking of control, because I read somewhere that having creative control is very important to you. I even remember you saying money is overrated, creative control is a real payment. Could you explain that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole world is after money, and this is such a big thing. I mean, it's so not even if you have it or if you don't have it, and this is just a very broad opinion that you experience in your everyday life. That what did it cost, or how much did you get for it? And it's so often money is set equally with value or respect or something. And as a musician in these days, when you set money equal with value, nothing has value anymore, because people won't pay you. They won't pay for music, they won't pay for records, and especially not for streaming. And so I thought about it a long time. What does it actually mean, having money and having no money? And I found a very beautiful, romantic side of making art. And it's not only romantic, because that's a bit up in the air. It's actually, it feels much more true to just do the thing you do, and whoever gives you money for it, fine, and you have to be a business person in this world, but that's not what it's about.
So what does creative control mean? Like, how do I imagine creative control?
I think one important thing is that if you have a label that doesn't want to be into the creative process so much, because if like the majors that want to have it sound like this or that, or we need a single or something like this. The really cool thing was that with the second album, we really could do whatever we wanted, and we could decide how this album should sound like.
And this was different with the first album?
No. That was pretty much the same. And by the way, I just heard a quote these days of some old rock star. I don't know if it was Iggy Pop or someone, or Mick Jagger. Somebody said to me that a really icon in that business said the reason why it's very difficult today to be an independent musician or to be a musician is that label people want to talk into your art. And that was different, because back in the days, like in the 60s or in the 70s even, those were businessmen who didn't know anything about music. They were just fat old men smoking cigars in some office and just checking money. And nowadays, like, everyone is an artist, and they want to talk. They want to talk into your stuff, and that's different.
So there's kind of like a downside to not having those people who don't really care about your art.
Exactly, and I did not know that a downside would exist, but that would be one. Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to your guys' songwriting, is there only one person who writes the songs, or is it like a thing you do together, or you?
We used to jam. Like the first album there were many jams. Like for instance, Heavyweight. That is a song that almost is one-to-one what we jammed, like including the lyrics. That was awesome. That was an awesome experience. On that second record, I had so many songs I wanted to get out of my system that, yeah, I wrote most of the songs like on my own, but I need Matze always to give me some good feedback and ideas for beats or.
And does he give good feedback, or is he like holding back?
He's very careful but precise.
Yeah, it depends. Sometimes you don't need any feedback, and sometimes you don't need even my ideas of a beat, because if Charlotte writes songs, she always programs beats, so there is something, and it's more about finding a way to adapt it in the studio my way or in an acoustic way, because really most of all the drums are completely acoustic, and that's more the thing. It's not so much like creating a beat for every song, you know?
Yeah.
Like you can imagine, like me and my drummer is really that what it is. Like he is only playing drums and I'm doing the rest, basically. Like this is how you could put it together.
And then because I listened to your previous album, and I felt that it had kind of like a holy supernatural spirit, if you maybe knows what I mean. But I like that. But I also felt like something very like theater about it. Mm-hmm. Is that like a choice? Is that did like your guys' theater background had an influence on your first album, or is that just maybe a coincidence?
You know what? I don't even know the answer to that question, because sometimes I feel like I was sort of reborn in Tübingen town, like in southern Germany, and when we were working at the theaters, because then in the days we were taught what it means to make an Inszenierung, like. How do you say that actually? What's the English word for Inszenierung? Like to create a play, yeah? To create a play on stage.
Yeah.
And what does a stage mean actually? What can you do with it? And what is a story? How important is a story? And my father is a scriptwriter, and so that sounded familiar to me. That's very important to have a story and a message and a vision and something visual to it.